Today, Professor K. N. Ganesh, the founder director of IISER Pune, he has handed over the charge of IISER Pune, and he has taken over as the founder director of IISER Tirupati. After almost 11 years plus stint at IISER Pune, and also Professor Jayant Udgaonkar, he has taken over as the director of IISER Pune. I request Director IISER Pune and Director IISER Tirupati to please come onto the dais. So now I request Professor K. N. Ganesh, Director IISER Tirupati, to please introduce Professor Jayant Udgaonkar, and after that this will be followed by an address by Director IISER Pune. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon everyone, and I'm very happy to address you as the ex-director of IISER Pune. I've been addressing you all through the last 10 years or 11 years. I'm not sure what new I have to say today, which I have not said in the last 10 years. But I'm very happy to see. I've never seen such a overwhelming, I think there are some seats here, maybe you can come over or, yeah, anyway. So, dear students and faculty and the non-teaching faculty, maybe I'll just speak for 5 minutes and address, and then I will introduce our new director here. It's been a long journey for me from 2006, August, we started this institution. I'm not sure how many in the audience students who are there, who sort of studied in Site Trinity and who are still here. Maybe some PhD students could be there. So we have made a long journey, starting from, this is just for those people who have not sort of heard me before on this journey. 2006, we had the first batch of students, just 44 students who joined us with 5 faculty, which RGB on that day described as the Pancha Pandavas. We were 5, myself, RGB, Ambika. I'm sorry, I'm taking just the first name, I'm sure you won't mind. And then we had Samir Chauhan from mathematics and Vikram Athale. And also Professor R. Ramachandran, that actually one Dronacharya plus 5 Pandavas, we are 5. So we started the journey, and the first batch of 44 students joined. And the very first year, I remember I still, we actually, IISER Calcutta and IISER Pune did a joint admission. The whole thing happened in Calcutta. And when they all came, our session started on August 16th. And August 15th is the flag hoisting. So we started by first flag hoisting. And 16th, we had our first inaugural session at the NCL auditorium, because we didn't have anything, like this before. And you must have seen the movie. And of course, a lot of parents were there. And we are starting new. It's a new institution, IISER, a new paradigm in science education. Nobody knows what IISER will do. Students are blank. And if parents come and ask me what is the pay package they will get, I'm blank. I was not sure what pay package even I'm getting I would get if I continue. So it was a very, very, I only said that I promise you one thing, that is uncertainty in life. And, but they all joined. And I think if I look back, that first batch of students, it was so small. I remember each one of them, by name, and some of them have sort of been following up where they are, etc. And because we are only 5 teachers, we had to run, courses. And Ambika made the first catalog of library. We had, 200, 300 students, 300 books. So we had to literally write down the name of the book, author, accession number. RGB and Ambika took care of that. It was a great thing, In every aspect of it, all 5 of us, 6 of us were involved. Both RGB and Dr. Ambika, they were the wardens. And that is the stay-in wardens. They were all staying in NCL hostel, 25-room hostel. And they actually stayed there along with the students for 2 years. Can you imagine, staying with a lot of students and midnight calls from parents and I know students, their students are students. And so it would deal with all kinds of problems, but they never complained. There was such a sense of pride and ownership that we all started. I'm sure all in new institutions start that way. And next year, another 50 or 60 students joined. Immediate thing was we did not have any accommodation. So we all went around scurrying for nearby houses somewhere close by. No owner, landlord would give accommodation for students. I would like to say this loudly because if you have to vacate your hostel for some disciplinary or whatever action, we'll find it difficult to find accommodation elsewhere. So you must retain your, IISER Pune accommodation at any cost, okay? So you should not lose them on disciplinary grounds. That's my message. So it was very, very difficult. They were all scattered all over, the whole of this side, Pasha and behind Sus Road. But it is good because we had a yellow bus which goes to pick them up. And it was very loudly written on the yellow bus, IISER Pune. And that was our advertisement. Wherever this goes bus, up to the Pasha circle, everybody knew about IISER Pune. That's how we advertised ourselves. And then in the 2008, we moved to Sai Trinity campus, which is a 1 lakh square feet of building. We established all the laboratories, whatever was required, state-of-art laboratories there. And the idea was to attract best of the faculty. Those who come and see, those facilities, they would get impressed, and if you offer them, they would join immediately. They would say no to IISc, no to IITs, and they would join IISER Pune. That's what we wanted. And it did happen. And it was a great learning game for us because I must tell you that IISER Pune did not start with a template for any academic activity. We said we want to teach, these are the courses, this is the syllabus which was done, but never had any rules and regulations. We didn't want to copy any IITs. We didn't want to copy any universities in terms of academic program. We thought that we must evolve something on our own because IISER has a mandate of its own. So we started with minimal number of rules. As more and more students violated, we had to also tighten the rules. That's what happened. But today, I think our rules are very enabling. And I think both faculty and other students have accepted those rules. And we have learned to operate. And, but these rules have evolved. What I want to say is that for the flexibility, for the good of educational system from the point of students and the faculty, it has evolved. And now IISER Pune rules are becoming a model elsewhere. So we didn't start with any template. And that is true with every aspect of it, whether it is science, research, curriculum, teaching, plenty of flexibility to faculty, plenty of flexibility to students in terms of choice of course, etc. So we are setting up a new model. And I think based on whatever the feedback, the inputs, what you have received now from even the students who have left, who have gone, outgoing students, I think we have done pretty well. I must say that I do have this pleasure of meeting some of our ex-students when I go elsewhere, and I'm sure other faculty also meet. Some of them actually, those who joined in the PhD, they are coming back here, giving lectures, and many of our ex-students have visited. So the feedback all says that the training given at IISER, is pretty good, and they have all been performing much better than many of the other institutions. So IISER Pune journey has been a very hard work in the initial stages. And then, of course, then we had this campus building activity. We started in 2010. And I think by that time, many of you would have, today would have joined. And that was another great experience for many faculty, my senior colleagues, engineers. Again, there we did not want to copy, any campus things. We had our own idea of, how a campus should look like. And today, of course, many people who come here, they all prize our campus. Although, I want to see huge number of students walking into any building, I never get to see that. I don't blame the students, but our campus is designed in such a way that all the student populations are scattered, the spaces have been created in such a way, that even at LHC, students, they all come at different timings for the lectures. So it's very nicely. And we wanted a campus where people would all meet for eating. That happens. We have only one dining hall. Unlike many other institutions, we don't have very many messes. They all come there. People should meet, even the faculty go and, And we also believed later on that the way to heart is through stomach. So we wanted to provide good food. And at least in the last 1.5 years or 2 years, I have not received any complaint about food from any of the students or even the faculty. And it is all managed by own students. And I also realized that students, what they want is choice. They're not worried about the price. We might keep increasing the food price, but they want plenty of choices. And that's what our present system has provided. Very many visitors, when they come here, apparently they talk to some of our students, when they're going for a walk. And they all come and tell me, how do you keep them all happy? Nobody complains about anything here. So it doesn't mean that you have to start complaining now. But I'm very happy to hear such things from people who visit. Same thing is true with our faculty, our science, the publications. So for me, as a founder director, it has been a dream run for me, dream run actually. To be honest, I had never I never had a sleepless nights. People are empowered, and I must thank. I will not go on elaborating a lot more things, but I should like to thank on this day all the students, past, present, faculty. I shouldn't say past because not many people have left. So all the faculty, my senior colleagues, and administration particularly, in all aspects, engineering group in particular, for making this place so nicely habitable, lovable, and I'm sure with the new lights coming up in on our lawn cricket ground, I think it has become very, very good. But the only thing is we have not been able to complete the indoor stadium. That is because of lack of funds or irregular flow of funds. And very soon it will be completed. I also learned that our director, Professor Jayant Udgaonkar, is a great tennis player. So we'll immediately have tennis courts in place. So IISER Pune is now almost, it is reaching its initial stages of completion. So when I leave this place, I'm leaving as a proud person. And I would like to, when I go to Tirupati, I think I will probably remember all the days in Pune, what to do, and particularly what not to do, which I will not tell you. What we have not done properly, that also I will not tell you. And so it has been a great learning experience, but I have thoroughly enjoyed. And I'm also very fortunate, not many people to get a chance to build one institute, but I have been the founder, will be the founder of the 2 institutes, not only 1, but 2. My job has been very simple. As I said yesterday in the mail, I trust people, and I don't do micromanagement, and all my colleagues have given back the trust in terms of the responsibility, accountability, and we have created an ecosystem where everybody feels like working. Nobody should work here because of the fear of director or the registrar or anybody. They should work because they love working. They would like to contribute to the system. That has been the culture. Again, the same thing is true with academics also. So I'd like to say a big thank you for all of you, present each one of you, for having contributed to the IISER Pune. Now, IISERs, when they started, we had a very big, I would not like to say, but we had to compete with institutions like IISc and IITs. It was not very easy. They're all well-established institutions, 100-year-old, 70-year-old institutions, but within 10 years, I think people are getting scared, they're taking notice of IISERs. Many institutions were becoming number 1 or 2 by default without competition, but I think IISERs have thrown a very big competition to all these institutions, and the result is the general level of our Indians, academics, science, competitiveness, everything is going up, which is very good. Students, I think you are the future, and we are about now 1,500 students, and I'm sure when you leave IISER Pune and go, wherever you go, whatever you achieve, you will remember your alma mater and come back to IISER wherever possible, talk to the future students, because for students, getting to hear from their alumnus, their successes, and how the IISER Pune culture developed them, that will be much more effective. So all of you must come back. Anytime you come back, if you are staying not more than for 2 days, we can give you free accommodation and food. If you stay for months together, we'll see something else, Yeah. So please come back, and write to us. In that case, somebody was asking me, tell us something what you have not been able to do. I think I must accept one of my things, unfinished tasks, which I could not do, which perhaps I'm sure it will do, is to have an alumnus association. We did start a website launch, but Professor Agaram had to go away for 1 year for sabbatical. We have not continued, and I'm sure it will happen, given the will of our faculty and others. We must develop a strong alumnus one, have a web page on which all the people register. And today, it is very easy to collect data because of social media, network, etc. It just flows. So we would like to create the database of our alumnus and follow it up. And that's a very, very important hallmark for any institution, is how their alumnus are doing. And we know that quite a few people, a lot of students have been doing extremely well, although it is a very short 10 years with which to measure that. But there are, from the few facts what we know, they have been doing very well. So I think it has to be formally documented. We'll do that. So I leave IISER Pune with a great satisfaction, very well satisfied mind, that all of us together, we have been able to contribute something to the society, give something back to the society, which has given us so much. So thank you. Now a great pleasure in introducing Professor Jayant Udgaonkar, who has taken over as the director of IISER Pune. He is an academically very, very distinguished person. Since all the students, everybody is here, I will formally introduce him. He had his graduation, Bachelor of Science degree from St. Xavier's College at University of Mumbai, majoring chemistry and minoring microbiology. So his chemistry-biology interface has started right from his bachelor days. And he got his master's degree at IIT Madras in chemistry. I'm very happy. The next director also has a chemistry background. He got PhD from Cornell University in biochemistry, cell and molecular biology department, majoring in biochemistry, minor again applied physics, working with Professor G.P. Hess. If I make something mistake, please correct. Then he had his postdoctoral experience at Stanford University, working with Professor R.L. Baldwin, which I'm sure those who have been working in protein biochemistry, you know that Professor Baldwin is one of the big pioneers in protein chemistry, who has worked on the protein folding. And protein folding is an unsolved and maybe unsolvable problem, extremely complicated. Professor Udgaonkar has contributed quite a lot to the area of protein protein folding, starting with the concept of so-called hydrophobic collapse, and then using labeled compounds, NMR spectroscopy to follow the kinetics of folding, and he continues that work. And his much of the earlier work was using a protein called bar star. And so then he returned to India in 1990 and 1995. He was a reader at National Center for Biological Sciences of TAFR, NCBS, which is shortly known. Perhaps it started around the same time, maybe 1990, and he probably started his career right in the beginning of a new institution starting, like we all started here. So he comes with experience of starting a new institute. He knows what it takes to start a new institute. 1995 to 98, he became an associate professor at NCBS. And 98 to 2007, he became a professor, very fast rise. And then in 2007, he became the senior professor at NCBS. His general areas of work, as I said before, is biophysical chemistry, protein folding, dynamics, and aggregation. As I said in the beginning, he is an academically very, very distinguished person. He has received several honors and awards. I'll mention a few of them. He got the Biotechnology Career Fellowship from Rockefeller Foundation. He got the Swarna Jayanti Fellowship 1997 to 2007. I'm not sure whether it was the first year where it was installed, when it was Swarna Jayanti, started probably in that year. Awarded by the DST. And then he received the Senior Research Fellowship, Wellcome Trust. And he's also a J.C. Bose National Fellow at 2007. He is an honorary faculty member at Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research. He's a fellow of all academies of sciences in India, Indian Academy of Sciences, Bangalore, Indian National Science Academy at Delhi. He's also a fellow of the World Academy of Sciences from Trieste. He's a member of the various journals, advisory boards of journals, editorial advisory boards. I will only mention one of them. He is currently associate editor of biochemistry in ACS journal. I'm very happy that we have something common with ACS. I'm very happy to note that. And I think I have used him as a reviewer in sometimes for the articles in protein folding. He has received B.M. Birla Award for Biology in 1996, CSR Bhatnagar Prize in 2000, and Distinguished Alumnus Award of IIT Madras, and G.N. Ramachandran Gold Medal in 2011, awarded by Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Government of India. So, students, faculty, and IISER community, you have an extremely distinguished academician, somebody who has placed his stamp in the area of protein folding and biochemistry, and particularly in the other areas of biology, assuming as the directorship of IISER Pune. And it is very, very befitting that we have such a distinguished man leading the institute for the next term. So I welcome Professor Jayant Udgaonkar on all your behalf. I also take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Sangeeta Udgaonkar, who has joined us just welcome, madam. With these few words, I will say goodbye. Tomorrow I'm going to join IISER Tirupati as the director, but I'm continuing here as I'm going on deputation. I have my research group. Till now I never talked about, so my research students should not get scared that I'm abandoning them and going away. I'm going to come back at any opportunity, even the smallest of the invitation from Pune. I will come back to Pune, and I will keep it, I'll continue to guide you students, my group particularly. And don't worry about that. And the institute has made, arrangements for the alternate faculty, etc. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best. I invite Professor Jayant Udgaonkar to give his introductory remarks.
I've never given a talk like this before, and Ganesh certainly shows that he's done it many times. And I hope I too will learn to do this well. But, in my lab on the whiteboard, for the last 15, 20 years, I have something written. बोलने से क्या फायदा करके दिखाओ. Now, so Ganesh certainly has the right. He certainly has the right to speak because he's shown us what he and his team have been able to accomplish at IISER here. I still have to prove myself, and I hope I can. It's quite remarkable the way IISER Pune and also the other IISERs have grown. Many of you would not know that at the time the idea of IISERs was mooted, there was a lot of cynicism and skepticism in the scientific community of India about whether such new institutes would succeed in any way. And the very fact that we are all here today is really due to the commitment of people like Ganesh and his team here, and of course the scientists at the other IISERs. Now, as I said, there was a lot of cynicism, and that cynicism of outside observers, scientific observers, has more or less vanished principally because of what I think, as an outside observer, IISER Pune has been able to accomplish, more so than any of the other IISERs. It's so when I was interviewed for this job and was asked where I wanted to go and given the choice, I had no hesitation in saying that I would only come here and nowhere else. So I'm happy to be here. You don't have to clap all the time, it's very embarrassing. So it's really wonderful to be here, to to, and hopefully to interact with many of you over the next few years. Uh, what is striking about this place is the energy and the enthusiasm amongst the young people, students and faculty alike. It's not there in many of the institutes in the country, and I hope it never goes away. But much of this enthusiasm and energy is because of youth. And this institute is now roughly 11 years old, and so there's been the exuberance of youth. But what comes after adolescence are the teenage years. And many of you, well, all of you have gone through teenage years, and they are difficult years. You have to really develop structures which allow you to function in the long run very well, and that's not an easy task. Some of the structures have already been put in place by Ganesh and others out here, and hopefully over the next few years these systems which have been put in place will evolve so that over the many years IISERs will exist, or this IISER will exist. They will serve the purpose of ensuring that the science in IISER is carried out with the maximum possible efficiency, and people do as well as they can, or better still, they can do better, that they do better than they believe they can. And that's really my job, to make people, faculty and students alike, to do better than they believe they can do. Now that's easy to say and not that easy to implement. So what do I see as my job? I see it as mainly enabling others to do what they can do best. And when I say this, I have a very strong bias towards enabling the youngest faculty members, because I think for the new faculty member and for the perhaps faculty members in their first 5 years, it's very important that they get the entire support of the institute, so that they have no break in the momentum of their research from their postdoctoral years, and can perform science at really the cutting edge, as they say. The idea really is that when people talk of a science institute in the country, they do not talk about IIFR or IISc, but they talk about IISER Pune. I think that's possible. This place is young, it's got good faculty members, it's got good students. The question is, how does one channel the energy and enthusiasm into making this place really the best in the country, comparable to the best in the world. So what does one really need to do? Now, a few days ago, there was a little farewell function for me at NCBS, and Jitu Mayer, the director there, said, my coming here would not be a challenge for me, but it will be a challenge for you all. If you want to know what he means, you should talk to him. But it's going to be a challenge for me because the place is new to me. And my own way of functioning is that I need to understand how things work here before I can even think of making any type of change out here. And that will take some time, so I ask you all to bear with me during this learning period. So I'm going to depend a lot on the structures which are already here. Some time ago, I was given some advice of what makes a good administrator, and I was told, and I already knew it from experience, that what's very important is to have the right person doing the right job. That's number one. And number two is promote only people who deserve to be promoted. That's number two. And of course, the third important point is that you have to select the right people. And so the first two really depend upon knowing how the place functions, knowing how who's doing what, how well they're doing that, and so that will take time for me to learn. So in the meantime, I ask the deans and heads of chairmen of department, chairpersons of departments, to really ensure that things are run in a flexible manner, are run in a manner where the youngest get the fullest support, fullest mentorship possible. And I think if that is done, the place will really thrive to the fullest possible extent. I have experience as an administrator. For 11 years, I was looking after, I was a dean, I was heading administration, I was heading the technical services, the engineering services. So I know how people think. I know how they try to get away with things. I know what to demand of them. And hopefully, unfortunately, I've forgotten a lot of that, because in the last 9 years, I haven't done any administration. But hopefully it'll come back somewhere in here, and it will come out to my benefit and hopefully to everyone else's benefit. I know that we have been going, IISER Pune has been going through a tough situation in terms of funding. My own belief is that a little bit of struggle is good for you. So if there is a shortage of funding, it's good to be able to think of new ways to get by without funding. I've looked at the facilities here, they're really world class. When visitors came to NCBS, I used to tell them that there was no excuse for not doing well, world class science at NCBS. And I must say that I have to say the same thing out here. There's really no excuse for all of us not to do world-class science in terms of what is possible, what I see in terms of the facilities, etc. out here. It just needs good thinking. So I mean, many of you will be wanting to know what my philosophy is in terms of running an institute. As I already mentioned, one priority of mine, which is the youngest faculty, the newest faculty members. I believe in scientific accountability. In other words, if you are funded well, you have to perform well. This should be a place where everybody should be doing well in something. Doing well in research or doing well in teaching. Teaching is very, very important, and preferably doing well in both. We have to see how this can be made possible. Hopefully our funding situation will improve very soon, but when that happens, funding will be done in a manner where the best get funded more than the people not doing so well. I really believe in scientific accountability, that one has to discriminate between those who are doing well and those who are not doing so well, in all possible ways. Not just for faculty members, but for also students. So if there is a student who's really doing very well, I believe the institute should go out of its way to accommodate whatever idiosyncrasies that student might have, whatever wishes that student has in terms of doing coursework or doing research, whatever. The educational aspect of this institute is very important. I've interviewed students who have graduated from here. Some have been very good, others not so good. The important point really is that I hope the students who graduate from here do learn the most important thing, which is learning how to think. Learning to think. Many of you who are going to become scientists or are scientists will already have realized that science in any field has become very interdisciplinary, and you need skills in various different disciplines. And what you need to learn here is really how to think, so that if you have to learn and relearn in later years, you don't have any problem doing that you have the self-confidence to do that. And you should demand of this is to the students, you should demand of your teachers that they design courses that make you think. So, students should be comparing themselves to their peers outside. Are they doing as well as students in other institutes in the country, elsewhere in the world are doing? You know, it's easy to blame your professor for not doing well, but you're all, well, most at least PhD students are all adults, and you have to take your life in your own hands and make the best of your life, and you can't let a not so good thesis advisor come in your way of doing very well. So compare yourselves to your peers elsewhere in the world, and try and do as well as them. Faculty members also have to compare themselves to their peers outside, and that really tells you how good you are in the context of world science. You cannot isolate yourself anymore. You have to be able to do as well as anyone anywhere else in the world. So this is going to be a new experience for me. I'm going to need all your help. I will try to be of as much help as possible, and hopefully we can really take this institute to new heights. You know, yesterday I moved into a rather big house on this campus, and I will need to justify to myself over the next few years that I've earned the right to stay there, to live there. Ganesh certainly did so. I hope I'll be able to do the same in the next few years. So thank you for coming here, and thank you for the very warm welcome I've got from many of you who I've already met, and I look forward to interacting with all of you. Thank you.
From all of us, our sincere thanks to Professor K. Ganesh, and best wishes to him, who's proceeding as director at IISER Tirupati, and best wishes to Professor Udgaonkar, who has taken over as director of IISER Pune. Thank you very much.